I'm just waiting for people to start joining. Sorry, just a minute behind here. Go ahead and get rolling as soon as we get people connected. Is anybody there yet? I see you.
Hello.
Hey, I'm still working on here.
Cool.
All right. People are starting to get connected here. I was just a little slow because we ate dinner a little bit late tonight. On computer. All right, see a few people connected. Hey, Jet. Come on, computer. All right.
Hello. I try to keep my mic muted when I'm not talking so that it doesn't give feedback.
It's okay. We can also hear you chewing.
That's why I need to mute.
All right. All my messages are sent. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Is Mary with you?
No, she had to do some work tonight, so she ran home.
Oh, okay.
So she's probably not quite there yet.
Looks like we're getting a little bit of a late start here.
How many people are in the regular chat room?
Oh, I can't see that. At least I don't think I can. I'm always doing the yapping, so I'm never paying attention to people that are over in that other area. Can they see it? Can they chat with us?
They can send messages.
Can they? Oh, good. Okay. I've never been the one just participating. I'm always the one running these meetings. So
I think you do have
and
to
you know.
the Q&A thing. It looks like it's disabled.
Okay. Okay. Let me see if I can enable it. I'm bringing up some other stuff on my computer now. My computer is has an overtaxed memory, so it's not the most speedy thing on the planet right now. All right.
Hey, Scott.
Right. Hey, it's our travelers. Right. Waiting for a few more people to tap in. Mike Berg, I sent you the link for this the engage part on purpose. I sent it to a couple of the campers on purpose, just in case you guys had some questions that we could tackle later in the meeting. Because if you guys have questions, then probably some other people have the same question. So let me get some time towards after our main topics. We'll get into that. You need Sam. Hoping Mary. Is Ray still traveling?
Ray's in Istanbul right now.
Is he? Okay. So you guys can see on the walls behind me, I got the art that I made for the temple hanging on my walls in the room.
Cool.
I see that.
And interesting enough is they should hang at the same level in the temple. There's a rail that goes around the room that's 8 feet up, and so they should hang about the same spot, which is kind of cool. Hello, Mr. Berg.
Hello.
We're just letting everybody get connected here before we start rolling. Just a minute longer.
Is that the temple artwork behind you?
Yeah. Yeah, I decided to hang it in the room here. I redid the whole room while Chantha was traveling. I painted it a really cool color. It's hard to tell from there, I guess. It's kind of it's called Lilac Frost. Very gay, I know. Oh.
You said it, not me.
Let's see. Feature is disabled. Okay, can I enable Q&A?
Yeah, probably in your settings.
All right. No, it
Settings
doesn't
are
have it there.
So I think
I know we've had it work before.
Yeah, if you go over to the right, or I'm sorry, the left, and there's this bar that pops up, and I think it's under control room. My guess is you can enable the Q&A settings there.
Control room? Okay.
That's what I would try.
Oh, control room just gives me, like, I could mute you if I wanted to, or I could shut off your camera if I wanted to, or something like that.
There's a little chat.
But I
at the
clicked
top.
on the Q&A icon, and it just says disabled.
Okay. Because at the top of
Oh,
that, above control room, at the very top of that column, there's a chat, the chat icon.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and just get started. So if you're not actually talking, let's go ahead and get muted. I want to go ahead and jump into some of this stuff. I messaged the board earlier after asked everybody to take a look at some documentation on the website. The focus of the first part of our meeting today is on food preparation for the playa. Hi, Mary.
Hi, sorry I'm late. I just got home.
We're actually just getting started.
Oh, perfect.
So the
okay.
the first subject of our meeting today is we're focusing on food preparation for the playa.
Okay.
And we want to kind of do a little bit smarter this time. We're going to try and get everybody to either have as much food pre-prepared as possible, or food that's freeze-dried, or
canned.
Yes, or canned, exactly. So we minimize, stuff that needs to be in the coolers. Excuse me. So we can minimize stuff that needs to be in the coolers and minimize waste on the playa.
Yep.
I worked on a. Did you want to step in, Mary?
Yeah, I was going to say, and to do as much prep as possible, pre-prep. No matter how small your kitchen is, it is much more desirable to do your pre-prep in your kitchen. Right.
Right. Did you have more?
No, that was it. I'm done.
Okay, so I mean that even includes the bacon. Like if you are doing a brunch, then it would probably be prudent for you to cook your bacon at home and freeze it, and then we'll heat it up out there on a grill on the playa or something like that. We'll heat it up some way out there. That way we can also reduce the amount of grease we've got to deal with, bacon fat.
Yeah.
And keep Melanie from drinking it too.
Well, and if you pre-cook the bacon, you'll drain off a lot of grease, as you're saying, Coaster, but you can also just heat it up in a skillet that way as well, and you won't have the amount of grease that you would if you cooked it raw.
Yep.
So we don't necessarily have to worry about a griddle. We will have pans. We have a stove. We have places to heat up just about anything, and cook some things if necessary, like if you're making barbecued hamburgers or something like that. But pre-cooking is a great way to go because then you don't have a lot of the grease and stuff to pour off.
Yeah, and your overall preparation time is reduced drastically too.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to worry about bringing all the different spices and ingredients. You don't have to worry about, anything but what you actually need just to get that meal out. So don't go crazy with your preparation. Just try and keep things simple. Then just reach out to one of us leads if you have questions about, what that food or what to do. And we need to. I think Sam and Kevin started working on a list that's on the volunteer worksheet for you to list what you're planning on making, so we don't have 20 spaghetti dinners and everybody doing pancakes every day. That we do have a variety of things going on through the week, and then because of we have fewer people on playa early than originally planned. What we'll do then is we're going to get you guys bunched up a little bit more, especially on dinner service. So there might be 3 of you assigned to a shift, and the 3 of you have to coordinate with each other and get that meal planned and executed. I think one of you wanted to talk about that, Mary?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that more?
Yeah, I can talk about that. So, like you said, Scott put out a really good guideline as to how to determine how much food to bring based upon the projected number of people that given day that you're cooking. And so, I mean, and you even calculated it out for everybody, which was impressive, which I appreciate. So, as you talk with whoever you're cooking with, or your cooking partners, if that's the case, then coordinate who's going to bring what. We do have ice chests that you can put things in. And like I said before, if you can do prep work ahead of time, I'm cutting, slicing, and either shrink wrapping it or just bringing it in Ziploc bags, you're much better off. I will have cooking lubricants, like cooking. I knew that group would like cooking spray. I'll probably bring a bottle of olive oil. So I'll have that kind of stuff, salt and pepper, so that you don't have to worry about kind of the basic things. But if there's some spice or something that you want or is in your recipe, then that's on you to bring. But I'll have that kind of stuff available for the camp. If you want butter, you need to probably bring your own butter. But oil or coconut oil is good. I'll probably bring some coconut oil. Just kind of the basic stuff I'll cover. Or you can assume we'll be there.
I just got a question from Christian about pasta. You can, in some cases, pre-cook your pasta, depending on what you're doing. Like Mary and I talked about a recipe that we're working on for Wednesday night, that we can pre-cook the pasta. It's tossed in a vinaigrette, so it's got stuff on it to preserve it.
You can buy pasta that you only have to boil for 3 minutes.
That's true too. Yeah, like in a bag, stuff like that too. Who said that?
Doug.
Oh, hey Doug. Right on.
It's just hard, the draining piece, the gray water, what do you do with the pasta water, is always harder to deal with when you're out there.
Yeah.
It just takes a bit more doing. So you can pre-cook it, you can rinse all the starch off of it, you can throw it in a bag or a container, and you're probably much better off. And then you can just, whatever your sauce you're cooking, you just cook your sauce, and then you throw the pasta in, mix it up, and your pasta's heated up.
So I got a whole bunch of messages. I'm trying to see if there's anything I need to answer for anyone real quick.
I'll continue on what Mary was saying then. But as you're thinking about, as you connect with your menu partner for that night, look at the menus on the days around you to make sure that you're not repeating something that someone else is making. So we don't want like 4 days in a row of pasta. Pasta's great, but let's just be aware of what's on some of the other days around you. And then do connect and make sure that you understand what each one of you is doing to prepare for that meal. So if you're buying one thing, make sure that your meal partner knows and has a separate shopping list for the other ingredients, so that you don't show up with 2 5-pound bags of rice.
I've got a question for Mary from Stephen.
Yeah?
Stephen's asking, how many pans will be available there to use at once?
I have 3 frying pans, all 14-inch. One has a lid. There's 2 16-quart stock pots, a 24-quart stock pot, and there's a griddle that will cover at least 1 burner of the 3-burner stove. Is that sufficient?
It should be. He'll let me know, I guess, otherwise.
Okay.
I think I've kind of cut somebody off from asking a question.
It was Doug, yeah.
Go ahead, Doug.
We've been traveling, so I have not been out to look at the updated spreadsheets, but I know the early entry got trimmed back, and that's when we were cooking. So do we have counts for early entry?
Say that again. What's
We
the
have-
last question?
I'm cooking for early entry Friday and Saturday. Do we have counts? I know they got
Yeah,
counts.
those are
Yes.
on the worksheet that I
Okay.
published this afternoon.
Okay.
So you're going to see a thing with some formulas on there, Doug and Jet. But I think I had a conversation today about the Friday and Saturday cooking with somebody. Who was that? Was
That
that?
was with me. It was yesterday.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Has that?
So,
Have you changed that?
pardon me?
Did you change
The first
cooking on those days?
Not yet. No. I did mention to Doug briefly though that I was thinking that you might do dinner on your own Friday night rather than trying to have a group meal, depending on how quickly you're able to get the kitchen set up on Friday. Saturday morning may be possible to prepare a group meal in the kitchen if it's set up, but you
Okay,
might
so
want
I'm gonna put the brakes on that right now. One of our first priorities when we get out there is going to be setting up the kitchen area. So we might have to just kind of sling together whatever we do for dinner on Friday night, depending on how long it takes to get in. But if we all work as planned, we should have the kitchen started in time for dinner.
Okay.
And then if we just go with the plan, then we should be fine.
Okay, well that Sunday then is a problem because those of us who are not part of early entry will not probably be there Sunday morning for brunch. So you'll have basically the build team and the couple of people who were assigned to Sunday
That's
brunch.
fine. We'll
Yeah.
tackle that separately,
Okay.
if you don't mind. Because
No.
I hear where you're going with that. I know we talked about it earlier, but I've been doing other things. But I'll work with you and Sam on that, and then we'll coordinate with everyone.
All right.
Hopefully, people haven't gone and bought all their food yet, which I don't think they do. I got a question from Matt, who's with us here. Do we know how many vegans we will have? As far as I know, we have one. So we don't have to make as many vegan dishes, but you'll notice on that same worksheet, I put a list of people that had allergies too. So we have a lot of shellfish, avocado allergies. Looks
Dairy.
like we have some people. There's a few different allergies that are listed on there. So we can't do any shellfish. We need to stay away from that. Avocado, if it's prepared, it's got to be prepared separately and cleanly. Sorry, Chance was right there. Let's see. I noted there was some dairy and stuff like that, but I don't remember. I'll have to take a look at the list. And just take a look at that worksheet because that's where I'm going to put the allergies. And that worksheet, I mean, it may seem complicated, but it's kind of a nice, simple tool for planning your shopping. And the numbers on there are kind of rounded up. So, like, if it does say 20 pounds of meat protein, if you're going to make something with chicken or you're going to make meatballs or whatever it is, just kind of stay in that range. And we should cover everybody for food in our camp. All right. And then it also talks about what the requirements of a meal is. I mean, there is a main dish, there's a side dish, and then there's a starch. Now, if you're doing spaghetti, for example, I know we talked about that already, but if you're doing spaghetti, if you're doing spaghetti and a salad, that kind of covers all those requirements. You're meeting your starch, you're meeting your protein. If you're putting meatballs in it or chicken or something like that. But if you do add a protein to it, like a meat protein, have it separate. And if you're going to do vegetable proteins, try and be a little bit creative with that if you can. If you could pre-make pea patties, stuff with soybean patties, you know, the veggie burger things. You can chop those up and put those in spaghetti really easy. There's a lot of options out there. There's actually some really great vegan sausages. So if you do a spaghetti with sausage one night, all you need to do is get one package of the vegan sausage, and that should be fine. You know what I mean? So there's a numerical value in those numbers that we put together, but there's also, you know, a little bit of common sense too. And I'm sure you guys will be fine.
So,
And if you have questions, just ask.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, I'm totally open. Ask my, you know, I've done this a couple years. I cooked for an art camp the first year I was there, so kind of understand what, you know. Anyways, I'm a resource if needed.
so I'm like mostly vegetarian. I guess that's the reason I ask. And
who's talking, Matthew?
yeah, this is Matt.
Okay.
So I just wanted to find out, like, where do I put that? I didn't see that on the volunteer form. Maybe I missed that, but
It was on the registration form.
okay. So do we have access to those results so I can look at who's veggie and vegan and plan accordingly?
Well, there's only one other person that said that they were vegan on that. So I'll just go ahead and update your entry to say vegetarian.
Cool. All right.
All right.
So you're saying we have two vegetarians?
What's that?
You're saying we only have two vegetarians?
At this point, we only have 2 vegetarians. We do have one person on a special diet that's with us, but he's managing that on his own. He'll be eating a lot of rice, oats, and fruit, I think is what he said. So
Whatever works, right?
yeah, he's very sensitive, so he's going to just take care of his own stuff, and we're going to give him the space to do that.
Yep.
So we want to make sure everybody in camp is taken care of. Let's see, I'm getting pings here, so let me see what's going on. But we have a 3rd vegetarian, so I'll be updating that list. Hold on, let me just check.
And it's also important to distinguish between vegetarians and vegans. So, you know, obviously, like, I'm making breakfast and I was going to make a bunch of eggs, so I need to find some sort of, like, vegan protein option too.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Usually, if I'm cooking for a mixed crowd personally, because I do cook for large bodies of people every once in a while, I try and keep the vegans and the vegetarians together. Oh, okay. Sorry, Jeff is leaving me, and I didn't know why. So I usually try and cook for them together. And that just, you know, is kind of a kill 2 birds with 1 stone kind of thing, and making sure that there's that the proteins are there to make sure you know, people are satisfied, because it's important to have. There's a lot of cooks out there that don't understand vegetarian proteins, and that's why I'm harping on this just a little bit longer, is because I think they're very important. You know, from chickpeas to barley to lentils to different things that you can do, you know, can make, you know, like little fake meatballs. You could do patties. If you need, you know, if you do need something, you know, you can get the black bean burger patties or the soy burgers, and you can chop them up and use them as a meat substitute. If you're making a spaghetti with meat, you don't have to mix it together before you serve it. You can have it separately, so someone can add it if they want it.
You can also, there's a black bean pasta at Trader Joe's.
Yeah, so there's lots of different options, and please feel free to be creative. If we still, you know, keep it like I only said 10. I only changed it to 10% vegetarian because I thought we had only 1 vegan in our group. But you know, now that we got some people coming out of the closet, just
So to
kidding,
speak.
just kidding, so to speak. I just want to make sure everybody's taken care of. So we do need to know what you're planning on making, so we can kind of say, can you help us, get a little bit more of a better protein or a solid protein for, XYZ people as needed? Oh, okay. I got your message, Tim, and I'm with you on that. Let's see. Mary was talking about pantry items earlier, and I got a message from Jacob asking what will be in the pantry, i.e., I guess the olive oil and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And then I'll help you, Mary, to make sure it gets stocked.
Yeah, so I mean, realistically, this is what I was thinking. The kind of the olive oil, coconut oil, salt, pepper, cooking spray kind of stuff. There'll be coffee and tea, and there'll be alcohol. So it's going to be different than last year. So if you want snacks to eat during the day, during the night, whenever, that's on you to bring. I mean, great snacks is peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, peanut butter pretzels, dried fruit, that kind of thing. Protein bars.
Trail mix.
Apples are good. Things that are pretty forgiving that you can throw in a backpack and take with you.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I'll make sure that
go ahead, Mary.
I was going to say, I'll just make sure that I'll have all of the, not condiments, but just cooking things, right? The basic cooking stuff.
And I'll help you to make sure we get all that out there.
Okay,
too.
yeah, we can kind of do a brainstorming and I'm totally flexible. I haven't gone out and gone shopping or done anything like that, so.
Okay. So one of the things that Mary had mentioned is last year we had a more extensive pantry because we wanted to get snacks for people. We found that was turned into a big
mess,
shitstorm,
a big dusty
because
mess.
people brought all kinds of shit. We had people literally walk over with boxes of chips
watermelons.
Watermelons.
Remember that?
And then plopped it down. Well,
It's
we
like,
had a
what am I
watermelon
doing?
incident in 2014 too. So
What are we doing with watermelons?
Yeah.
So we kind of, this year the idea is that it's on you. If you want something to eat, extra snacky food, then you need to bring it.
Yeah, and that actually just answers Christian's question that I just got through text message as well. He was asking if we bring snacks for ourselves, should we bring enough to share?
No.
If you
that's
do,
up to you.
you're taking them home. You're not leaving them. You're taking them home.
We will have coffee and tea for the camp. And I need people to donate coffee. That would be amazing. I'm bringing tea because I've got more tea than I know what to do with at my house. So I'll have all sorts of varieties, decaf, regular, full strength, extra strength, whatever. But that's pretty much it as far as what we're providing.
Also, we don't have
storage. Gatorade.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We don't
Go
have
ahead,
we don't have storage space for personal snacks, so plan to keep those in your tent.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the reasons why I invited a couple of people that don't normally sit in on this side of the meeting, Matt and Mike, for example, is just in case there were questions, and I'm glad. Thank you everyone who's been texting me messages because it's really helpful and I really appreciate it. And Luisa, I'll get to your question a little bit later on because we're going to focus on food right now. Matt and Mike, did you have any questions on the food scenario that maybe we haven't thought of? And what about you, Jet? You too, because you're kind of new to this rodeo too.
No, I mean the thing is that just knowing that we bring our own snacks and stuff like that, it seems pretty clear that, at least from what I can tell, camp provides like 2 meals a day, and then you're on your own for water and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's the thing I asked is how much water to bring for yourself this Friday for the week.
Yeah, we had some discussion about how much water to bring this week. For me, I've always heard the recommendation is 1.5 gallons. That kind of comes along with drinking water and something you might use for cleaning or bathing or whatever. 1.5, I would say on the top end, 1 gallon a day on the low end. Because you might want to be soaking your feet at some point. You might want to be, maybe it's too late in the night to take a shower because it's too cold out, and you just want to get yourself cleaned off or something like that. It's also there in case, what if for some reason our water isn't delivered? These are things that we got to be prepared for.
And then Scott, another comment along with that is bring the water, but also bring some sort of container, not flask, but some sort of hydro flask or water bottle, Camelback or something that when you go out on the playa, you've got water with you.
That's really important because there's nowhere on the playa to get water.
Exactly.
Well, there's ice. When the ice melts, you can use that.
But 3 o'clock in the morning when you're dying of thirst.
Oh, there's plenty of vodka.
But you got to have, I have a hydro flask with a bandolier that I can carry it on my back, and it's a liter of water that I'll have with me at all times.
I just want to go over about the drinks one more time in camp. So what we should have every day is we'll start as part of the morning preparation, and we'll actually cover a full day's routine in a little bit. That'll be one of our other subjects. But in the morning, we fill up a 5-gallon container with ice and water. We fill up a second 5-gallon container of water, Gatorade, basically ice and Gatorade. And then we'll have, thanks to Kevin, I think, we'll have a really big container of coffee made up. And then we should have, I think Mary is trying to shoot for 10 pounds of coffee for the kitchen.
Correct.
Last year we bought 30 pounds of coffee and barely used. Go ahead, Mary.
Yeah, I had a very extensive formula that Kevin will attest to that I came up with that figure.
1 pound a day.
Well, what was the question? Someone ask a question?
Oh, I was just making a commentary that Mary's formula is basically 1 pound a day.
All right. Is that how it works, Mary?
No, it was based upon numbers of drinkers of coffee and assuming that not everybody drank coffee and that some drank 2 cups a day and some drank 3 and anyways.
Cool.
So this is Matt. I can bring some coffee. I just wasn't sure.
Have it ground.
Yeah. I'll grind it for a percolator.
Perfect.
Yeah. How much should I bring though? Because I know one other person was bringing coffee.
I think she dropped
that person's not with us anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. So we need 10 pounds.
We're not asking you to bring 10 pounds. What do you want to bring?
Exactly. Tell us what you can bring.
Unless you're drinking at all, right?
Yeah. Tell us what you can bring, and then we'll continue to let other people know how much more we need.
Yeah, okay. It's easy for us to combine our resources because a lot of hands make light work,
Yeah.
How about this? I'll bring 5 pounds. I'm bringing some good coffee though. Well,
Great.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like Matt more and more every time I talk to him. I just do.
I'm not scared of the food. Yeah.
So I got a question from Jim King. He said, should coffee be ground? The answer is yes. Jim,
Ground
Henry,
for a
and I can
percolator.
bring several pounds. Ground for a percolator.
Wonderful.
So Jim
Ground for a
says, I can
percolator.
bring several pounds. Does Mary have an estimate for volume? And so the answer is yes, we're looking at about 10 pounds. Is that right, Mary?
Yep, that sounds right.
All right. And then we'll also have Gatorade out there, too. Gatorade is also a good mixer for the alcohol that we also plan on having out there.
Yes, and the alcohol is almost all been committed, except for 1.75 liter of tequila. So I did 2 vodka, 2 whiskey, 2 tequila, and I went through the surveys and I did a, kind of a weighted it, and this is what came out as the top ones.
Were people assigned to get bottles, or did they volunteer to get bottles?
No, they all volunteered.
Oh, okay. I got a question from Christian. Is an actual Camelback required, or just a reusable bottle sufficient?
It's just whatever you want.
Yeah, when it comes to water, a Camelback is going to be very helpful, but you're going to want, and this is for everyone, and this is actually a really important point. This is a good question and brings up a really important point. You're going to want to have some kind of cup with your ID photocopied and taped to the outside of it.
So photocopy is not going to work because we ran into issues last year that district wanted a real ID.
Oh,
we don't want
right.
a photocopy. You cannot do a photocopy. So I went to the DMV and got a California state issued ID in addition to my driver's license.
That's what I was actually going to do before we left.
Good idea. I'm going to do the same thing.
So they won't take copies because I know, Kevin, you ran into that last year at district when the bartender wouldn't serve you. And it's not like you look like you're 20, right?
Thank you.
What? He looks like he's 20. What are you talking about?
22.
23. What are you talking about? Come on.
So, yeah, it's really important that you have your ID, and absolutely at no point do we give alcohol to anybody in our camp, or do we provide any other illegal materials in our camp whatsoever.
To anyone outside of our camp.
Yeah. Exactly. I see Michael laughing. That's funny. All right. So yeah, make sure you have some kind of cup that you carry with you. It'd be great if, what are those things called? Pontoon or P-tune, or what are those things called that clip on?
Carabiner.
Carabiner. Yeah, get a carabiner too.
And take your ID to your cup.
I got a question from Christian. Will an Australian's driver license be acceptable?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
a government issued ID is kind of what they were looking for.
Yeah, and just take extra care so you don't lose your ID out there or anything like that. Just be really smart about how you manage that stuff. All right. Food items. Coolers. So I got a question this week about from somebody traveling outside of the country in for camp, and I know that affects a few people for us. We have people coming from all across the U.S. as well. Everybody has to manage their own stuff. If you've networked with somebody in camp to share a cooler, that's fine, but don't just show up assuming that you've got cooler space available. We're kind of operating on the principle that everybody has their own cooler and everybody's going to manage their own stuff. Don't make that assumption. And we've provided a lot of links for organizations that provide camp setups for you. Don't be afraid to use that because it'll save you from buying a bunch of shit and leaving a bunch of shit behind too. Are there any other questions on food? Something that I've left off? Any leads have anything on this subject? Let me check something here. I'm hearing. Okay, so I got a question from Christian. Do we store our food in our designated meals in our own coolers? I would say the answer is yes, unless you've got an arrangement with someone to share that space. I know that people's coolers tend to get pretty packed, and so it's just kind of plan on your self-reliance. But if you network with someone and can share space with them, that's different. I know you and Christian, for example, you and Jacob, I think, are doing a meal together now. Is that right? Was that
yeah, that's right.
Okay, so you both are coming from different. I mean, both of you are Australian, but one is coming from Australia and one is here in San Francisco.
Local.
But yeah, so
So Scott, another piece of advice is in the cooler situation, if you don't do dry ice, then block ice is best. And if you get like a 2-liter bottle of water, dump a little bit out and freeze it, then that becomes your drinking water, but also serves as your ice in your cooler and will last much longer than ice cubes.
Right on. Yeah, those ice cube bags last on average probably just about a day-ish. It also depends on how often the cooler is open and closed. So, that's how you can kind of extend the usage. I did really hope to be able to get a propane charged cooling device this year, but our budget got kind of wonky with a lot of the new fun stuff that we got this year. We got some cool stuff in camp, so. Food items. Anything else, anyone? I got a question from Louisa about photocopying state IDs. This is, some bars will accept it, but most bars won't. And I think a really good example is what Mary was saying with Kevin was district is a party you're going to want to be at, and they will not accept photo IDs.
Pink Mammoth was the same way. You had to go check in and get a wristband before they would serve you drinks.
Oh, that's true too, yeah.
Right?
Sorry, Louisa's clarifying that I think she was saying it was an option, but I think in a lot of cases it's not for people.
Yeah, you've got to have your real ID and you can't have a photocopy.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, she's... Okay. Or laminate. I'm not sure what she means. Laminate? All right. I still think the bottom line is you still need a real ID.
Yeah. Whether your photocopy is laminated or not, that won't make a difference.
All right. So I think I've covered everybody's questions that I've had so far. So I kind of so some of us here in San Francisco and some of us that are leads are going to have another meeting soon, just so we can go over some few final checklists, and we're going to do something which is essentially we're going to walk through camp, with our imaginations and just see what we need covered and see what's not. And I know that wish list that's on there right now seems overwhelming, but we have most of our, and Mary and Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, we have most of our needs, our basic needs met at this point. I think, Matt, did you say something about having a first aid kit that you were bringing for the camp?
Well, yeah, actually my question was, are we going to have like a hardcore first aid kit? Or should we, like, how prepared should we be as far as bringing our own first aid equipment?
Well, we have a first aid station and we have first aid equipment for that space, which is going to be in the kitchen area. I think it's pretty well equipped. We can't do surgery in camp, of course, but and then our one medical professional that we had as a campmate has unfortunately left to go to another camp. But we do have ways of getting help if somebody needs help.
Yes, our camp exercised that last year.
I brought
Yeah.
a little first aid kit last year, just like one you can buy at Target. Never needed it, but it was great to have it in case somebody else did.
Yep, I lent stuff out to who shall remain nameless, but yes, I lent stuff out.
A few of us know who that is.
And he's not camping with us this year, but he's a dear friend of mine, so it's okay.
He's a wonderful person. But anyways, we did have a doctor in camp last year, which was extremely helpful, especially since a couple people got sick and then a couple people got injured. And we were blessed with having somebody with a medical background in camp. We did have a nurse that had signed up with us, but this was her virgin year, and she has an Obi-Wan that recommended that she camp with him, and so she decided that she was going to go over there instead. So, such as it is. Wow, we've been doing this almost an hour already. I can't believe it. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to kind of talk about what a normal day in camp is going to be like, and I want kind of everybody to kind of be on the same page. The first thing in the morning is that we have to fill those 5-gallon containers, and there's only certain designated people that will be allowed to operate the water in camp, and those are all department and camp leads. They're the only ones that know how already, and I just don't want a bunch of hands in it. I don't want to have any chance of getting the water supply tainted, and I don't want any type of abuse of the water. So we'll fill up the 5-gallon water with ice. We'll fill up the 5-gallon Gatorade with ice. In that time frame in the morning, someone will, whoever the volunteers are to go get ice, will have gone and got ice. Now, we have a wagon to assist with that, and thank you, Michael Berg, for providing that. It's here at my house. There is a chance that our neighbors, the Rudis Temple, will possibly offer to drive us over to get ice with them. They have a electric golf cart that they'll be using to go get ice. So if they offer it, then we'll do it, but let's not assume. The temple needs to be cleaned. The land needs to be mooped. Does anyone not know what moop is?
Please, can you define please?
Who said that?
That.
Well, moop is matter out of place.
Trash.
And moop is when anything on the ground that doesn't belong there. If it didn't come out of the ground, it doesn't belong there, so we got to pick it up. And if we're mooping every day, then our final moop sweep will be that much easier. So we got to make sure that the temple's clean. Ray will have a gas-powered leaf blower that he'll use to blow out any dust from the temple floor. There's 2 carpets in there, so we'll just make sure everything's kind of clean. The monkeys are set up, the pillows are set up, the candles are taken care of, all that stuff. Just to make sure it's ready for guests, because we start having guests as early as 10:30 on Tuesday and Thursday, and then I think they start coming in after 11 on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and Saturday. So, but the schedule's posted. And then I think we've got all the volunteer shifts pretty well covered. So it's basically a lot of setup. And then there's the 3 days where there's a tea service where I'll work with people to make sure we have our tea service ready for when that kicks off. And so we're just going to have to do a dance with the brunch team to make sure that we coordinate with each other, because the tea service is going to need the giant pot. It's a giant turkey fryer pot to produce the tea for the day. Basically, a giant simple syrup we'll be making. And then when it comes to events, there are people that are signed up to do greeters and concierge. You know, that's a matter of just, you know, everybody that comes into camp is welcome. Even if you're not on concierge duty, if you're walking through camp and somebody's coming in, we welcome people to Sun Guardians or Rudis Lounge, whatever it is. We just welcome them in. And if they have any questions, you know, we help them out or get them directed in the right direction. But everybody should be very open and welcoming to people as they come in. The guests, front of the house, guests should be limited to front of the house. The only guests that are back of the house are, it's like somebody you're with, or it's a close friend that's with you, maybe to go to your tent, you know, for a drink or whatever, you know. But I don't want a bunch of strangers hanging out in the kitchen, and I don't want a bunch of people just hanging out, you know, to get a meal. If you want to bring a guest to a meal, just talk to one of the leads and just see if it's cool. On a normal circumstance, we don't do that, except for Wednesday night. Wednesday night's the only night that you could bring a guest, that we encourage people to bring a guest to dinner. We're going to have quite a big party that night. So we'll probably have upwards of around 100 people in camp to eat that night. So anybody that can and wants to help out, that would be appreciated. The leads are taking on the meal for that night, and that's me, Mary. Who is it, Mary? Me, Mary,
Ray,
Kevin,
and
Ray. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The four of us.
So we're the ones that are doing the meal that night. This is our, you know, appreciation for everybody, and but you know, feel free to help out. All right. So I think that covers almost everything. Is there any other questions?
Scott, I have a comment that we probably haven't discussed yet, but
Yes, dear.
Since you want to control the water, and I agree with that, and the way the shower and the hot water heater work, the pump has to be running. We probably should have a designated shower time every day.
Yeah, because I haven't had a chance to connect with you to really find out about the shower and how it's running and stuff like that. So I think I was making some assumptions that was the case. Have you? And then let's talk about that, and then we'll have one more meeting before everybody takes off, like a couple days before we take off.
Okay.
And
Kevin and I
talk about.
Kevin and I are put it all together Saturday morning and test it out. So.
Okay, and I still have a piece here that was ordered as part of the shower.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know what that is yet or not.
No, I'll come. I'll text you and I'll come over and get it.
Okay. All right, folks. So I got a question from Louisa says events with a question mark on it. Probably the fastest and easiest way for you to see all the events is on the Sun Guardians Theme Camp page or on the website on sunguardians.net, where our complete schedule is at. There's a calendar on there with everything on it, plus we have everything. Oh, okay. She says I already answered the question. So for everybody else, if you're curious about what those events are, everything that's forward-facing to the community is on the page, the Sun Guardians Theme Camp page. And then Everything that's internal, like the dinner on Wednesday night, is on the Facebook group. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. We do need to get some people together for different things here and there. San Francisco people, I'd like to do at least one more just social thing together. We are still working on some projects here. As you heard, Doug, Jet, and Kevin are be working on Saturday on the shower. And somewhere between now and the next few days, I'm hopefully finishing one of the art projects. Thanks, Kurt and Christian, for coming over the other day. Kurt and Christian were helping me assemble one of the art projects, and we had Glamcox here working beside us, working on one of their own projects, which is kind of fun. On heading out, I am going to need help, physical help, loading the truck that's taking our stuff out. I know Kurt's going to be with me, but I absolutely need help. I'm not trying to do the poor me thing, but I had a back procedure the last couple weeks, and the doctor has now told me I'm not allowed to lift more than 15 pounds. And some of these boxes are pretty heavy, and I just really would appreciate help getting this vehicle loaded on Thursday morning, first thing. First thing, that's quotation marks. So we can get to Reno, have a night together before heading out. Right now, the early entry team only consists of myself, Jet, Doug, Sam, and Ray. 5 of our other EA passes have gone to Rudist Lounge, and those guys will be helping us when we get there. And then we have some other people that are coming in on early entry passes for different projects that are going to come and help us as well. So we have some steps that we need to accomplish when we land on Playa, hopefully as early as possible on Friday. But I really hope to have the camp built and ready by Saturday night. And I did say hope. Hold on, I got another message. Okay. Thank you, Seth. I got your message, and I will let you know. Seth was offering to help get stuff loaded. So anybody else will follow up, and I thank you all so much for hanging out, and you guys have a great night, and we'll talk more soon. Anyone have anything else? Who's that? Everybody good? Anybody have anything they want to add? Okay. All right, guys. Thank you. See you later.
All right.